Ezra, you want to back announce that one for us here on KROQ?
Sure.
Now.
Okay. Oh, that was Vampire Weekend with Harmony Hall on KROQ. First time ever.
First time ever, ladies
right.
and gentlemen. Ezra Koenig is here in studio with us here on the world-famous KROQ Kevin and Beat Show. Has it really been 6 years since the last Vampire Weekend album?
It's hard for me to believe. It doesn't feel like it. But technically, yeah, the last album came out in 2013.
Wow. And I know, and we have this conversation all the time with people who it seems to us, fans on the other side of the radio waiting for new music, it seems like it's been forever. But for you, you're busy living a life. You probably toured on that record for a couple of years, so it's not like you were, just sitting on the beach, right? That was some of the time anyway.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, the album comes out, and then you're not really done with the album that year.
That's almost the beginning.
Yeah, so you got to subtract another 2 years, and then you take a little time off. Yeah, next thing you know, 6 years goes by very quickly.
And you're doing a radio show for Beats One, and you're out, you're out procreating.
He has a TV show on Netflix.
Got a TV show.
Oh, yeah, that was my kind of like fun take a break from music thing. Made a cartoon with Jaden Smith. Mm-hmm. And then got so, you do a few other things. Next thing you know, it's like more than half a decade goes by.
How old is your baby now?
5 months.
That's a lot of time as well.
Yeah. It was all like kind of wild timing. But, again, this record didn't need to be rushed out, so I'm glad we got to take our time.
I usually feel bad about asking musicians to come in on the show so early, but I feel like with a newborn at home, you're up anyway. You're probably delighted to get out of the house.
Something's changing in me. I just suddenly started waking up at 5 a.m. every day. Sometimes I go back to sleep. That's maybe the difference between today and other days. But
Jensen has got one on the way himself.
Oh, real? Congrats.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I have no idea what I'm getting into. Like being able to wake up for morning radio has clearly helped the idea that I can go to sleep. But my wife and I yesterday, my wife and I were sitting around yesterday, and we realized like silence is over. We love silence so much, and it's just like we pretty much have to give that up for a while.
Well, you'll see what you get.
That's actually what we say to each other all the time.
No, because actually I find different parents have conversations about like, well, how long does the baby sleep? What's their vibe? And just like people, everybody's so different. Loud, quiet,
know. All right.
Chill.
Interestingly enough, that has to do with what my guess was as to what FOTB was.
Oh, yeah.
Because people were trying to guess.
Right.
So mine was, you woke up in the middle of the night and you went, F. Oh, the baby.
Oh,
so right. Like you're like, what is that? Oh, the baby. So
right.
It was a curse, then oh, the baby. Sad to see it wasn't that.
No, I mean,
no.
Yeah, the name also I thought of like years ago. So any resonance it may have with more recent events.
Because it stands for Father of the Bride.
Father of the Bride, yeah.
Huh.
You're a fan of the Steve Martin film.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who isn't?
Yeah,
Jensen, what are you doing?
It's a great standout.
It's great.
Martin short role, it's all good.
It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So why years ago were you thinking about that?
It's always kind of nice to lock the name in early, because then there are ways that, I don't know, maybe gives you ideas for lyrics or helps you just kind of see the way everything's contextualized. So that's always been the case, at least with the past few albums. So yeah, early on, I just kind of, I think I can't even remember. It might have been literally just like, seeing the movie come on TV and just being like, oh, Father of the Bride. And then just like thinking about it more and being kind of like, oh, wait, actually Father of the Bride, when you kind of take it, it's like a kind of like a deep phrase and you started seeing metaphorical or whatever. And so anyway, it's nice to kind of lock it in. It gives you like the lay of the land early.
I did that, my album would be called Wayne's World 2.
Right?
Yeah.
Which would be a strange title.
That'd be that. Wayne's World 2, I like that.
It's a sleeper.
The music business has changed so much, even between the third Vampire Weekend album and the fourth Vampire Weekend album.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm sure that has to do with how you've decided to roll this one out by dropping a couple of songs a month, right, until the album comes out?
Well, yeah. I mean, also, the album is 18 songs. So I also kind of like the idea of giving people a healthy taste before. So, we were talking, some people drop 3 songs before the album. I was like, why don't we just make it 3 pairs of 2? That just felt, we have so much material that we want to share with people.
Did you think after maybe 12 songs, you were like, we got an album? Nope, keep going.
Somehow I knew off the bat that this had to be a double album. Or, to me, it's a double album. That's also a funny thing. Like you said, so much has changed in the past 5
Yeah, there's
years.
no such thing really as a double album.
Right.
There's just a 20 track playlist is what there is now.
Exactly. So there's a part of me that's thinking like Exile on Main Street and Tusk, like double albums, and then there's also a part of me that's like 18-song album on the streaming era to a lot of people. That's just a regular album.
Well, because most albums that are coming out nowadays, at least stuff I know you and I listen to, are like 14 minutes. Like it's a full album, and it's 5 songs, and it's 15 minutes.
There's so many different ways to look at it, but yeah, I don't know. Once I started, maybe because I took a break when I started writing for this album, the songs came so quickly that I already knew this was going to be like a more substantial record, and I really thought it might be. I actually thought it might be like 2 23-song albums. Which obviously, speaking of Wayne's World 2, I was like, maybe we drop Father the Bride and Father the Bride Part 2.
Right.
Same day. Like Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, same day. 46 tracks.
That's right.
And then I got serious, and when I really was like, and truly when I started paring it down, it ended up with 18 tracks, and I was like, each one of these songs belongs here. There's no fat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
in my
amazing.
Opinion, in my opinion.
This is the voice of Ezra Koenig here. Kevin and Beans here talking Vampire Weekend, new music just out today. Harmony Hall is the song we just heard, which, by the way, if it's okay with everybody, I'd like to play again.
Yes.
Before the
Please.
next conversation. The other one is called 2021, which is a year that America is very much looking forward to right now. Harmony Hall is a real place, right? From Columbia, right?
Well, that's funny. There's so many places called Harmony Hall that there is a dorm at Columbia, which is where we went to school, but it didn't even exist when we were there. So that was like, there's sometimes this weird resonance where it kind of already came up with the name, and then like later kind of search Harmony Hall, and they're like, there's a dorm at Columbia called Harmony Hall. I didn't even
That's a
remember.
weird coincidence.
That is weird.
It is a weird coincidence, but yeah, no real relation to that place, but I don't mind.
And the producer on that is Ariel, correct? Am I...
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Like his resume is nuts. Like he did Hey There Delilah, but he also won a Grammy with Usher, and he's worked with like L.A. underground rapper Murs, and now you guys.
Ariel and Adele. He's worked with everybody. And I'd also like to point out, because I know there's some KROQ listeners who would remember, he was the singer of the classic ska punk band The Hippos.
Oh, really?
Really?
Oh, no idea.
I've been trying, and I love that. I'm
Sure.
a huge ska punk fan.
Yes.
And he does so much other stuff, but I was actually seeing if he would get them together for a reunion.
Do I have a Hippo sticker? I feel like I have a sticker.
There's true ride or die Hippos fans. So some people meet Ariel and are like, "Oh my God, you produced that Usher song! I'm such a fan." And then there'll be like somebody else who's just like, "Dude, what are the Hippos getting back together?"
He's been nominated for Producer of the Year at the Grammys,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
But yet people are still going to yell about his ska band.
I love it.
It's great.
I love it. Yeah, me too.
I want to ask one more question about Harmony Hall before we take a quick break and play it again and talk more with Ezra. And that is, and I'm sure this is the goal as a lyricist, is you want the words to mean something on the other end. I got to tell you, it stopped me in my tracks when you sing, "I don't want to live like this, but I don't want to die." Because I feel like that is the most relatable thing you could say to anyone. I mean, everybody has that feeling when they're thinking about the changes that they want to make in their life and the difference that they want to make. That's a very impactful statement, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'd like to think so.
Did it mean something special to you, or did it just fill out the verse?
No, that's a phrase that goes way back, and this song has deep roots. And actually, I've used that line on another song. But that's kind of a Vampire Weekend tradition to use lines, because sometimes you start a song and the branches of the tree go in different directions. But so I had to think hard about, because some of the hardcore fans will be like, "Oh, we've heard that phrase before," and I just thought, it's worth repeating, because I think a lot of people relate to it throughout history. People have more or less said the same thing. It's, you don't like the situation that you're in, you don't like the way that you're living. And yet, why is it so hard to do anything else?
Yes.
I think that's some basic human reality.
Well, that hit me right in the feels, man. I got to tell you. The song is called Harmony Hall. Many more questions with our guest. Ezra Koenig is here from Vampire Weekend. By the way, this might be a good time to say, since we announced Father of the Bride, I'm trying to do the math on these pre-releases, but when will the full record actually be coming out? Do you have a date yet?
We haven't totally pinned down a date. Like in roughly 3 months, because we want to give each little pair a month. So let's say April, May, something like that.
Okay, fantastic. Take a break. Be right back on KROQ. They're back, you guys. Brand new music from Vampire Weekend. That is called Harmony Hall from the forthcoming album coming out this spring called Father of the Bride. Ezra, how's it sound to hear on the radio?
It sounds good. It's about time. We messed with that song for way too long.
Really?
I wanted to ask you something. First of all, your Beats One radio show. We were just talking to you off here. What's it called? Time
Crisis.
Time Crisis. It's so good. You're so clearly a music fan, and you talk about so many different things related to music. With an insider's knowledge that I really appreciate. But one of the things that I think is interesting is the conversations that you guys get into about the fans of the bands and how they draw lines of what they find acceptable and what they like and what they don't like, and their beefs against other bands that, and things like that.
Right.
And I was just wondering, what's that been like for you? Like, do you think that your fans appreciate your music the way you want them to? 'Cause everyone's got an opinion.
No, that's very interesting. I mean, you at some point, I think you realize you can't go too deep into the fan communities. They're just things that the artist is not meant to see. Mm-hmm. Positive, including positive
For
things.
sure.
Just like, that's a whole community. There's something nice also about approaching fourth album, whatever you want to call this, like mid-career, old age or something. It just, some of that, you kind of settle into a groove where the fans have been with you long enough that I think they see stuff in this larger context. Mm-hmm. So in some ways, when I remember, us first coming out, and you got all these like one of our early songs, A-Punk, and I remember like just seeing comments be like, "This isn't punk," and I just was like, just these like really angry reactions and stuff. So to have fans who are kind of have been on the journey with you, it actually takes some of the edge off. So generally, I would say that there's something nice about the fans and the way they interpret stuff, and even just the past week, just people guessing the name of the album, decoding some of the imagery. Actually, it was like really positive.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the further along you go, the more they allow growth is essentially it. Because when you first start out, if a second album diverges anything from what they think the band is, but over time, you are allowed that growth from a fan.
More or less. Yeah, I think anybody who's been with Vampire Weekend for the first 3 albums knows that they are actually looking for us to change on each album. They're interested in the journey.
Right.
Because, that's when it gets scary, and I think that's stressful for artists is when people just do not tolerate anything different.
Yeah.
But it's like a tightrope walk to be a little different, but also you got to sound like yourself.
Have you had songs that you've got a lot of hate on?
Got a lot of hate?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would say like generally when the band first came out, all of them. But from some people, anything new, it's always kind of divisive. I mean, specific songs.
I just wondered if you're surprised by pushback, because most bands do have songs that for whatever reason their fans are not down with.
Bean is just trying to make you feel bad. So go ahead.
No. I generally, I think I kind of pride myself on the fact that, we're really an album band. So generally, I would say every song kind of has fans. And often there's it's not always the singles or people's favorite, or a lot of people might be other times it might be like a ballad or something. There's one song that we've never played live on the last album called Hudson. That's like one of the most like minor key Vampire Weekend songs. I've seen people refer to that as their least favorite. It's too It might be too spooky.
I mean, that's what I hear. When I hear a bad song, this is too spooky. This is just too spooky.
It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's too spooky.
It's too spooky.
People want that upbeat Vampire Weekend sound. They can't handle the spooky side.
Well,
but
it's weird that it starts with Vincent Price, and then you have...
That is weird. Yeah.
That's our thriller.
It's a little too spooky.
Yeah.
Ezra, it's been so long since we had you in that I have to ask you about something else that has happened since you were last here, and that's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You co-wrote and co-produced this song for Beyonce?
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen?
The cool thing about it is that all I had to do is that I didn't really have to do much. I made the original demo with Diplo. So he played me a bunch of beats, and he had this loop of this sample that's kind of what you hear, the heart of the song. And then I kind of wrote this hook on it that was kind of based on the AAS. I was quoting the AAS. And then so I wrote this, hold up, they don't love you like I love you. Can't you see that? Originally it was, can't you see there's no other God above you? And then we thought maybe it'd be for Major Lazer. I did a song with them before. And then I still have the email when Wes first sent me our demo It's in the same key. It's me singing the exact same thing. And I wrote back like, you know what? That's a pretty good hook if I do say so myself. I think this could be good. I want to save this for Vampire Weekend. And he said like, yeah, sure. We save that for Vampire Weekend. And then, a lot of time passes. I'm not even working on Vampire Weekend. And then it might have been literally 2 years later, hit me up and said, what would you think if this was a Beyonce song? I happened to play her the demo and she liked it. And I actually, at first, I wasn't even that excited because I was like, that's never going to happen.
Right.
Too spooky.
It's clearly too spooky.
It's so spooky.
But I was just like, it's not going to happen because I just know so many people who dip their toes into the world of writing for people, and you sometimes hear I've heard hundreds of people say I got a song on the next Rihanna album, and at this point I'm kind of like, yeah, we'll see about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, I was kind of like yeah, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then some time goes by, and then it's then we start getting hit up like, no, this is actually going to happen. And then I hear her version, all the things that she added to it, and I was kind of like, wow, this is for real. And so at that point, I was like, you know what, this doesn't need to be on the Vampire Weekend album. That's cool.
Beyonce, you can have it.
Yeah, but I still do have like my earliest little notes of the, LP4 track list brainstorm ideas, and Hold Up was on it.
That's
love
amazing. And by the way, she murdered it too, and it was kind of the centerpiece of that whole Lemonade video. Isn't that the song where she's smashing out the windshields?
That's the
and stuff
iconic
with the
video
baseball
in
bat?
the yellow dress. So it's one of
gosh.
those things where clearly it's so much better. And then I've been at saw her perform it at the Rose Bowl, and that was one of the more surreal experiences of my life.
So now you just have to write things with nobody in mind and be like, Elton John's going to do this one. Yeah. No bigs.
I think that's the way, because to me it's like thinking about Vampire Weekend is such a full-time music job that if somebody actually come to me and said, hey, you got any ideas for the next Beyonce album? I don't know what kind of I might have come up with something really weird or bad. So she picked the demo off the pile. I love it.
That's a beautiful story. That is really cool. So if that had won Album of the Year, as it should have, sorry, Adele fans.
He's still mad.
I'm still mad about that.
I would have won a Grammy.
You would have won a Grammy for Album of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We got one Vampire Weekend Grammy, but it would have been cool to have a Beyonce Grammy.
Would have been way cool. Yeah.
But
Bean just keeps bringing up these things
right?
to just hurt Ezra's soul today.
So spooky.
Anything else you want to bring up that you lost or that people hate? Anything else? Anything else you like? But
I'm just still so mad about the Beyonce Grammy, though. That's why I will never let that go.
Although the truth is, of course, I was sitting there. I was sitting next to Diplo. There's a little bit of excitement that maybe we'll win a Grammy, but of course, it's so much. It's at the end of the day. I get a lot of people were disappointed by that, but. It's we lost, but it's also so barely about us that I wanted her to win. That's the truth.
Yeah,
but
exactly. And by the way, it's also hard to be mad at Adele. It's not like it was one of these Grammys things.
And the irony is that Ariel, our producer, won a Grammy with Adele. So then afterwards, we're out with everybody, just going out to eat, and there was a lot of him roasting me. I beat you.
Just gloating.
It had so little to do with either one of us, but just like, I beat you.
That's
right. All right, I'll get you next time, man.
I am sad that we are already out of time, Ezra.
Oh, thanks for having me.
No, it's
thanks
so fun, and we're so happy to have you back, and we're so excited about the new music, and we'll be playing Harmony Hall a lot here on KROQ. Anything else? We already talked about the records coming out in the spring, March or April.
Yeah, Father of the
18
Bride.
songs, Father of the Bride
songs.
it's called, and then I assume we'll see you out on the road this summer and whatnot?
Oh, yeah. We have some really exciting live plans, so yeah, next week or two. Keep
Touring
your
with
eyes peeled.
Beyonce.
Oh.
Put it out
Was
there.
I not supposed to say that?
Put it out
Oh,
there.
my bad. Sorry,
It's a co-headline.
Okay.
Oh, right.
We're switching off each night.
Right.
No, but we can't wait to get back on the road actually, because adding 18 songs to the repertoire is it's gonna be really fun.
And congratulations on the baby. And
thank you.
And we love you here at KROQ. We always have. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye-bye.